Before we got into the game, we spoke about how bad Mousesports had looked on Inferno, and it doesn't get any better, even with elimination looming. These guys came and they saw absolutely nothing but blood. It was Woxic and Rops trying their best across the board, but it still wasn't enough to even net more than 5 rounds here. Mad Lions came out strong, they came out fighting, and they look oh so confident compared to their opponents. Guys, this was just an absolute blunder from Mousesports.
Yeah, it was. And oh man, it's so hard to talk about all the great things that Lions did when the opposing team plays to such awful standards, right? Yeah. And it's hard to say if it was Mousesports not performing or if there was just a lapse in communication, just a breakdown. But when you only are able to get 5 rounds in an entire match, especially with the landscape that we're in now, with as much money that's going around, there's something that went awfully wrong on your side of things. So I gotta say though, Lions, once again, I said there would be a lot of ideas coming out on this Inferno, and that's exactly what we saw. We even saw 5 HE grenades coming out from Mousesports on their CT side, and then Lions just 200 IQing them and double HE grenading CT spawn. Kerrigan just exploding. I love these ideas, and I love to see when it's actually executed properly. So that was the one positive light that I have from this match.
See, I like that you worded in a positive way. I kind of want to go the other route, right? Because I think it's super annoying. No, I think it's super annoying when you're struggling so much, when you're in, dare I say, identity crisis. You're in a period where nothing is working for you. Just go back to the basics. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? Go back to what worked for you. Try to initiate the players. Try to ignite the players. Make them feel comfortable. Don't try to force all sorts of new innovative stuff on them, because it's not working at the moment. We see Mousesports. They tried to do it in Road to Rio. Didn't work out for them. Now they're trying it here as well in DreamHack Masters, and it's not working for them. So do me a favor, Mousesports, go back to the basics and see if you can ignite your players on the lineup. Right now, Rubs to me is the only player that can be, not ashamed of himself, I would say. So Voxic had a decent map, but apart from that, Rubs is the only player who's stepping up to the occasion game after game. The rest of them, go back to the drawing board, find some hours on a deathmatch server and start to practice, because it's simply not good enough as it is right now.
Well, hopefully things can turn around when we get onto the train game, because yes, it's Mousesports' pick, but Mad Lions can also play it as well. And if we don't see the individual step up, then we could be looking at a pretty swift game once again, guys.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to agree with James here, because Lions, they are playing that simple game. They're just playing a bait and switch trading game and just going out, not shying away from any of the duels. You saw it on Banana. Bubsky just pushing through the smoke, enabling Shush to get those trades. So I think we're going to see a lot more of the similar things on this train. Mad Lions just getting in the faces of Mousesports, looking for these duels. We know how much Acor loves train. We know how much his movement allows him to find a lot of picks. So Mousesports, they need to be ready for these duels, and they need to be ready to properly trade.
To be fair, Mousesports have had a bit of success on the map of Train as of recently, even in this rough period for them. In the Road to Rio tournament, they played it 6 times. They won only 3, but they did beat Contact Gaming 16-1. They did beat G2 16-5. They beat Copenhagen Flames, who played one hell of a tournament 16-9. So they feel relatively comfortable on Train as it is right now. But I completely agree with Christine. Unless they find another level, I am afraid Mad Lions will just go out there and run over them. Last time Mad Lions played the map, that was against MIBR in the Flashpoint final. They made an insane comeback on the CT side. I believe they're down 12-3, still turned it around, won the entire game and won Flashpoint as a tournament in a whole. So they have plenty of confidence on the map of Train as of right now.
I'm going to be real quick with you guys here, right? Do you think this is going to be a 2-0? Because you're speaking about what Mad Lions did. Taking out MIBR on Train's pretty damn good.
I'm going to say no. I believe in the Mousesports train. I mean, just because it's train. If it was any other map, I would have a lot of more doubt right now. But as Jacob kind of illustrated here, train, Mousesports, it's a comfort pick. We know how confident they are on it. So I got to believe in them here.
Someone else than Rubs has to step up. Otherwise, I'm all aboard on the Mad Lions train. It can't be only him. Voxic, turn it up. Kerrigan, turn it up. And we may have a game on our hand.
Well, let's see if Mousesports can turn it up. Train is coming up next, and it could be the end for Mousesports unless they can bring us their A game, and that's what we want to see from these guys. It's time for us to head to a break once again, but when you come back, it's going to be back into all the action.
One step closer to getting back into the action between Mousesports and Mad Lions. We will be shifting from Inferno onto Train. Of course, the choice of Mousesports, and as our analyst said, what could be the final stomping ground. Their tournament life is on the line, Launders, so they've got a lot to play with here in this series, and now they're going to have to make it happen in a reverse sweep after already starting this week with a 0-2 in their matches. It's dire straits for Mousesports at this point, and, you know, sometimes diamonds are made under pressure, so let's hope this is one of those moments.
That's a good point. You know, Robs just has to continue what he's been doing, but this is a map that, as Potter brought up, Acor excels on because the ladder movement allows him to fly around. He has great movement, first of all, an HNS player, people don't know, and is going to have open lines of sight on Train, and his aim is definitely on point today. I
want to get it out there. You said this now twice, HNS player. What does that mean?
It's a movement game mode where you it's called hide and seek that people used to play in 1.6, where you basically can fly around. Yeah, it's all about movement, avoiding people from touching you.
Good to know. Good to know. The first time I just nodded along with you, but now you've got the answer.
I'll show you some HNS videos. Maybe Acor has some. They're pretty impressive. Yeah,
well, what was impressive was somehow Mad Lions have gotten control of the bomb here in the pistol. So while you filled me in, they filled in Mousesports, but full of lead. The USPs fire off in upper box halls. They got the bomb, and well, it's weird because Mousesports, they decided to head down the ramp to try and still take the bomb site, you know, since they had lost their element of surprise, but they lost the bomb in the process. So it's not an easy one to try and recover here. Minute on the clock still. Looks like they're all going to come in from the same position. Good first gush. That's going to kind of scare Acor back around at least the next corner. But they still want to make sure they find this timing perfectly. They have their eyes turned back around because, yeah, there's a world where this number 6-man Shush is actually over towards Z or can flank. But no. CT's dogpiling the bomb, putting down another smoke to really burn down the clock here. And Mousesports, they're going to have to decide to either make this play with like 20 seconds left over or run through it. Neither ideal.
Not ideal, yeah. I do think waiting out makes the most sense. Just the smoke, you got to respect it. It's really hard to get through that. You're going to get spammed. You can't afford to lose the first duel here.
Nope, Woxic's going to try to distract up from ramp. Woxic actually gets the job done unless Shush has something to say about it. He picked up 2 of the 3 kills, 10 seconds, 1 shot, and it's Mad Lions to kick it off here on Train, picking up their CT pistol.
He had a way to call that out. You know, he could have jumped out and got to the site. I'm sure it crossed his mind, but he probably thought, I'll take 1 bullet here on this angle off the audible since I know he has to hold W, and then maybe I can get away, get down the ramp, beat him to the site, stop the plant, or force the fight. Great round on the hold. Yeah, it's a very difficult round to win. Nice attempt from Frozen to come through and just on solo try to dismantle that crossfire.
Agreed. No bomb plant for Mousesports in that first round. Decide to come in with the buy regardless. Not working out until Frozen gets something with the Deeg, but Bubsky drops bomb yet again, just being his own boss. Always on his own, always in the face of Mousesports, always one step ahead. He takes the high road up onto the dumpster. And Roy's here to help lend a hand. Frozen called back to action. He's at least got the MP9, but god damn, they're just going to chew him up through the smoke.
I think Bubsky's bio on Twitter reads something like professional baiter for Mad Lions or something. So, you know, this is very, very much his role, and it seems like it fits with his personality perfectly. And he is always finding good timings. Great guy to have alone on a team who can scour out map control by himself, especially if they're successful most of the time. It just makes all of the other parts of the map a lot stronger. Where, you know, you typically want to have a buddy system going on. But if you guys have HNS videos, I know we've got some 1.6ers and sorcerers, to be honest, in the chat. So tweet them at Connor. I want to see some of the best 1.6 HNS videos you can show us.
Yeah, please do. At Scrawny CG. I went and checked. Ooh, the Zeus. You know what's better than a Zeus? The flying MP9. Roy proves it there in that one. It's going to get Mousesports to start flooding out from T-Con, but these rifles at a distance, so favored in this sort of a situation. Hell, Bubsky, he's going to get even closer and really put a nail in this coffin. And you were right. Bubsky's Twitter bio, and I quote, full-time paid baiter for Malding Lions. Making some noise. Hashtag go mad.
That's good.
3-0 start for the Danes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And there's so many people who cannot lurk full time anymore because it's too obvious once they die what the setup is. So it's kind of a rare sight to see players try to champion the role and take it on almost all of the time. But yeah, Bubsky finds a way to innovate constantly. So the full buy up here into round 4. We've got the slight pressure outside, trying to bait out some utilities. Just that initial flashbang over T-Con. 3 running inside. Ooh. What a spray by Kerrigan.
Oh, wow. And he tries to go one better, but then Ascillion doubles back. The leaders taking charge, setting the example. Roy hot on the heels of the ramp players. Rops having none of that. Turns back around, deletes him. As we have Acor trying to take these long-range duels, but he is most certainly outnumbered. The utility's still so strong for the tees. Goes for the wild spray at a distance, but that one's hard to control. So Finn Anderson, Kerrigan, my man, just popping open the ramp room. You saw how quickly Roy decides to go for the flank. Lots of flavors of Bubsky in that moment, but it doesn't work out for him. Good thing Woxic is there to trade Ascillion as well, or else Ascillion's 2K could have very well outshined that of Kerrigan.
The only good thing that happened to them that round was just knocking down some utility, because that was such an amazing couple of entries by Kerrigan. You think that's over. It's kind of surprising that he was up on top of the train as the bait on top of that. Wow, a tag from the op, combined with a nade as well to finish off Kerrigan. This outside rush is stopped in its tracks.
Yeah, they're really trying to push the issue, but Ascillion and Acor and Roy all combine. A near team ace, other than Shush, not needed. He stayed quiet that round as Mad Lions 4-1, but there's the grenade from Bubsky, thrown before the op shot actually takes down Kerrigan's half health. You saw Ascillion posted around the smokes, Acor the exact same. So that double op setup, followed by, of course, or rather, predecessed by Bubsky's grenade, all works out. And as quickly as we had Mousesports on the board, we have them back on the half buys.
One of the very best pieces of utility you can use to stop an outside rush is just an HE. Unlike a incendiary that can take time to spread, people can run through or get there faster. A flashbang can also be good to bounce it straight off, but sometimes people jump out because of their own flashbangs and can avoid them. An HE will do damage and slow your targets and does AoE, so that anybody who's coming out exploding out of the choke point will all get hit. So in a lot of ways, an HE can be stronger than a Molotov in stopping rushes to outside.
I think that last round's a prime example of it. Woxic trying to find one of the 2 oppers on the other side of this smoke here. An incredible player this man is. Not going to be made easy by the fact that his teammates are just on the pistols, but it has been rough to watch certain individuals seem to struggle more than others as we return to the online realm. I put Woxic towards the top of that list, unfortunately for Mousesports. They're getting closer to this bomb site, at least here inside of this round, but Bubsky and Acor locking it down, a kill apiece before Chris gets onto the feed. But he too canceled out after just 1. Good job by Rops to get behind enemy lines, but 20 seconds left. You know, if this was one of those 2v2 moments and the rest of his team had really succeeded, then maybe he makes magic happen. But even with that crisp of a first Eagle shot, you see what happens. Everyone expects him, and the round goes the way of the Danes. 5-1 already.
Yeah, you never know when that big flank lurk could actually be the key piece of the puzzle. If you get 2 kills outside, the rotations come in. Rops will certainly get a 3rd, and then you have a round, especially if you can just sit behind trains and wait for him to activate that lurk while making it seem like you're working on something outside. But, Mad Lions, they deal with the pressure so quickly outside, he's not useful. 5-1, and everybody's got the weapons that they want. They trade nades outside. It's a lot more from the CTs. They put pressure on both T-Con and Ladder simultaneously.
Roy, being teased by Rops. I'd back up, because he's coming for you. Roy's going to take a little bit of wallbang damage, and now on low health, he's still going to have to stick around. A well-banked frag grenade would blow him open, but there's dwindling utility here for Mousesports and dwindling control. Unable to keep Ivy in their back pocket, as we do have Ascillion cutting down 1 with the op. The double sniper setup looking really good on this outer yard.
Man, they're catching him at every single turn. You saw Ascillion had to push through a smoke to catch out Kerrigan on that lurk. Sometimes that play works out beautifully that Kerrigan tried to pull off. And they at least get the ladder. Talking about another great KZ player. There's Rops. Wow, that's an incredibly difficult shot to hit.
Shooting through his own toes. Gets two players down inside of T. Oh, wait. Frozen sees a player with his back turned, and now he's got confirmation on a second. He's the bomb carrier as well, so he's going to tap into the back of the head, you'd think. No. He keeps going. Oh, this is sick. Awesome stuff from Frozen. He finds timing on this outer yard, deletes both of the oppers. Tunnel visioned the snipers were, and Mousesports seem to have just gotten a second round out of nowhere. Rops clearing out the ladder room, and then Frozen clearing out the oppers.
He figured out that puzzle perfectly. You know, I think if he attacked any other way, there was a chance that he gets traded, but he figured out that, he needed to kill in that order of events. Shush going for the 1v2 can't happen. Frozen continues his killing spree. 3 frags to combine and to highlight, Rops making this ladder play as well. Finally, him having a round that's not made in vain. Awesome shot again. So hard to hit that. It's such an awkward angle.
Damn, Frozen. And what I really like about that Frozen play is that once he sees the first opper, he had doubled back to see the one on Ivy, and he saw, based on the positioning, that like you said, there was a chance he dies because he was going to walk into the angle being held. He was going to walk into something of the scope. He comes back at it and solves the problem. But here we have the leader of the pack. Not only was Bubsky the 3rd best overall player at Flashpoint, he did it whilst taking more opening duels than anyone else on his team. So always at the first step of the equation, young Bubsky putting in work.
Yeah, and what do we know about entry fraggers? They're made to take on space, but they're never also the superstars because they end up dying the most, taking the most damage. The person who takes the first duel is usually the guy who's supposed to be traded, not necessarily the guy who's supposed to guarantee the entry, and that's why that makes that strat that stat all the more impressive. What awkward situation to be in with the Mag 7. They've got him locked in. Since he's pinned here, they can take ladder room control, and they also kill Bubsky behind, so tough situation. But Acor, he's actually still gotten off, and he's been menacing outside. Yeah, another kill.
The second.
It's 3v3.
Almost like unfortunate for Mousesports that they find those kills so quickly, because that's what allows Acor to catch them by surprise. A third, and he is looking for more. The last 2 remaining members of Mousesports have both been tagged up. Combined health of 52. That's it. Acor has done everything, and he's going to read the peek out into Ivy. Pistol headshot at that distance.
To get the ball.
Back in for the scope, and he has Chris J exactly where he wants him. 50 seconds. Still, Chris, 1 kill. 1 kill on this map. And he's going to have to get 2 to clutch this.
What a move by Acor. Holy
shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'll finish it for you.
This is DreamHack. I mean, we can let the emotions flow. That is so nuts by him, man, on this eco. He's so elusive, man. He takes so many different fights. It's really hard to figure out how to trade him. I think that 3rd peek into him from Sandwich was maybe where the main mistake was made. Chris, low HP. He's identified 1 target. That Acor's still there, but they don't. And yeah, he's assuming maybe the rotator is probably just sitting in connector.
He's going to try to put the bomb in. Oh, he's getting tapped.
Oh, the ace, man. The freaking ace by Acor. And it's all in the eco. The 3 op shots to push into Ivy. The perfect reads and the smoke kill to top it off.
2, 3. The USP. And give us the last one. Baby. Lap it up, my friends. It doesn't get much better than that.
Man, I was thinking that twist ace that we saw was one of the nicest aces that we've seen this year. And this is like so complimentary to that. Like that has all of the elements of a great round.
Hold up. We've got aggression. Mousesports, they're just going to try and stampede into the B site. Kerrigan getting the first kill, but it's Shush who does have cover, and he's still real close. Woxic, Robson, Frozen. 3 key pieces for Mousesports, all still standing. One of which is coming down from the box halls, but Shush, again, on the site, just not giving them anything more than the plant itself. And Asilian finds timing as Frozen tries to set up Rops. A single CZ, never going to be enough. A 7th round for Mad Lions. They are right back in control.
I would love how Mad Lions, it seems like in every situation, even when the bomb goes down and you start to reassess how favored the CTs are, that they've got a long-term and a short-term plan going at the same time. There's always some kind of big flank moving in with a player working on a trade, and it feels like they're constantly maintaining tension throughout the rounds and allowing all of their pieces to work and also be calm because they have map control, they have people in position to trade, they're always moving forward, and it's just really difficult for Mousesports to kind of just calculate the inventory of all the players that are left over and what could have been pushed and what hasn't.
At least they're back into the purchase. I like that Mousesports are just kind of keeping up the tempo on the rounds they don't have much to play with. It forced the bomb plant, and it enforced the buy on this one. We got some weird utility being thrown over here towards Ivy side. Acor still a constant threat around this smoke. Keeps his head turned back towards Ivy, where there is a player coming in that's frozen on the other side. Asilian trying to hold him back, but it's Chris J who's managed to get out from T-Con, and he picks up the kill. Low HP, and Acor deals with him swiftly. Again, just plugging any hole that Mousesports can seem able to open. Frozen may have found timing, though. Acor's going to walk back into this, and Frozen's actually pinned in close. Has to let him get back somewhat, but this is pressure. This is making discomfort for the CTs on A.
And this ladder player allows them now to compromise more positions upstairs. Asilian just comes flying through the Molotov. I mean, that's a full spread Molotov. Where did he have to go that he needs to do that just at that very moment? I mean, there was a chance he gets the kill, but still, 2-on-3 now. Yeah,
a little wild. Let's, you know, there's disrespecting your opponent, and then there's disrespecting yourself. I think that's
give
what
yourself a chance to play. Ooh, a war of patience. Oh, and Acor wins it.
Oh my God, give us the back-to-back aces.
Seriously?
Oh,
okay.
No, sir. Woxic's got other ideas, and I like that too. I want to see some counter-opping coming out of Mousesports. You know, if Mad Lions are trying to face you this aggressively, then I think that Woxic could be a key piece to punishing that. If they're offering kills, hey, you take what you can get.
Shush gets in the kind of the best spot to go for this retake. He can cut off a lot of the angles here. There might be a peek in his favor. Yeah, there's a chance. Now that chance is gone. His position given up. It looks like he'll reassess the situation.
Doesn't have too much time to play with, though. There is that Molotov on Woxic, so an insurance policy in play. Woxic also swapped over to the AK. Shush walks in and is sent packing. So Mousesports going to make it happen. Looked like Acor was doing his damnedest to shut down another round, but Mohan, Mousesports prevail. They're third on the board.
To be honest, he really did. You know, everybody else just couldn't get kills. I mean, he in some sense, he's the only player to get a kill in the last 2 rounds. So there's a stat. There's an Elliot special right there.
Back stat. Hit us with this one.
Scouting for facts. Rops had just one scout. Rops had just one scout kill on Inferno before this game. He executed 2 CTs in 1 round with the Zoom Popper.
The Zoom Popper. The showstopper. Rops. Cool.
Yeah, and he did. Those are 2 scout shots on the B site from quad into CT spawn and then construction to win the round on the eco. For Mousesports, one of the only highlights of the game in a match where I think they had 4 rounds.
And Elliot, if you're going to put the SSG in brackets, I want to see the SSG 08. All right? It's important. You messed up Mohan. Oh, no. The grenades are back in action.
It's always Kerrigan, too, on the receiving end.
Oh, Bubsky. Shotgun on the ladder. And Roy, well, he gets somewhat flashed, but he's still going to find them with their backs turned. Drops bomb, and he knows he's in the midst of it all. A little bit too much to handle here. We do have Mousesports back into the man advantage. Woxic looking for another headshot, and they catch Asilian again, parading through utility. Acor, who else to try and hold this back? He gets the headshot, only losing a little bit of health. Rops barely alive. Comes out from behind and shuts this down. That's a 4th for Mousesports. They are definitely getting back into control. I mean, I'm not at that point where I'm going to say they're throwing, but Mad Lions, I feel like they're really trying to force the aggression that was working out at first. It seems to be a little bit more predictable now. Mousesports getting ahead of it.
Yeah, I think Roy, there was definitely more potential to make a second kill happen, but I think he got a little bit nervous. But you never want to take the T-Con fight from that angle because they have a shadow advantage on you. So it'll be impossible to win if they're just like, you know, smart enough to realize they just have to outweight you. But yeah, tough position to be in. Ivy push is crushed. Not a single kill for Mad Lions. 4 for Frozen, in fact, as he jumps to 12. And this half gets a whole lot closer. But yeah, you might be onto something. Now they have a round where they don't have a lot of money, and Acor doesn't have a Zob. I would wait for it, but it's hard to justify waiting for it when you have a full buy in rifles for everybody. So they could potentially half buy on a few and still have enough for next round and just let Acor mainly save. But they've had such a successful half, I wonder if they'll try. A Welsh town. Mau's last 6 training games, starting at the earliest. Oh, okay. They've been on a lost-win streak since. So
lost win, lost win, lost win.
What would that tell you about this game? I mean,
supposed to be a loss.
If we look at this, if this is true, then there's probably 100% chance they lose this game. But sometimes the past can't always predict the future.
Show me the formula.
It might just be a good indicator, but it does tell us they're definitely inconsistent at the very least.
Show me the math. Calculated. Mad Lions in with a buy. We've got most of the trimmings they could hope for and an opening kill. That's a wallbang from Roy versus Kerrigan, the first casualty of the round again, but it won't matter if his team can still make up for it. If his death is in vain.
This might be, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Bubsky tries to flank off this. Refreshing ladder.
It's coming. It lingers, and the bomb burnt to a crisp. Down ramp, Rops able to pick up a crucial headshot versus Acor. All the while, Asilian and Shush are going to lock down the play. Chris J, a god at clutching on this B bomb site. Would need as many kills in this round as he already has, and that's not going to happen. Bubsky, who else, comes in from behind. Mad Lions arrive at 8. 3 rounds the lead over Mousesports.
Yeah, they wasted no time. They've been able to flank somehow every single time that Mousesports have attempted to hit B sites. So that's an 8th. And they don't upgrade to a rifle on this round. They might not have had enough money to do that, even though they've saved. I don't think they picked one up either. But yeah, they still had a very successful round there to look back on. Back to ladder antics. A lot of the round, I feel like, has come down to, does the ladder guy get 1 kill or does he die? Because Mousesports are pretty damn good at taking ladder, if I'm honest, and have made it more than a nightmare to try to hold.
Good flash.
Oh my god.
He just bursts through. And I love that smoke pops just a moment later, too. He gets the information, and it keeps him safe. But once more, Mousesports just hitting the NOS button, flying down the ramp into this B bomb site. Chris J is going to use the flash to try and interrupt any sort of rotate. Roy sees one flying through the skies, but Woxick's still able to get away. And Acor, well, he wants some. He's going to get some. Charges straight into the faces of Frozen and Chris. Roy's denied from back, and Rops now with everything to do. A 1 versus 3 with Acor already pinning him into the close smoke, but nobody else to get on top of that bomb, so he doubles back for it. There's 2 kits in the situation, one of which is on Acor. Bomb defused, and a 9th round for Mad Lions.
A perfect angle to avoid the action. Acor, amazing round by him to push up, get those 2 kills looking beautiful. Now, again, they have a flank in place in order to stop. I think it was Roy who ends up dying, maybe to Rops in the back there, but still to get the tag on him. They know that he's close to the low ramp as well. They wait him out and defuse. There's pretty much no chance that he can get down there to stop the defuse. And Mad Lions pick up a 9th off of denying another B hit. They're looking seriously equally as good as Inferno.
Fair enough. Yeah. Oh, Bubsky, good for just the 1. Mousesports, sure as hell not going to go down without a fight. They're keeping up the tempo, trying to go blow for blow, but it seems like Mad Lions, the heavier hitter for the moment. 4v2 in the final round of the first half. The Danes gunning for them double digits.
I feel like Asilian shoots if he's double scoped there. I feel like he was trying to play it on hard mode. Just single scope from the back of 6. But
looking for a challenge, maybe.
They got nothing to worry about, man. Yeah, Mousesports are just they've got nothing left in the playbook. Busting out T-Con. Kerrigan's been dying every round, just holding angles inside T-Con, waiting to get set up in the round, getting double naded, spam pushed, flashed in. It's not been a fun game for him.
I will forever remember the round on Inferno, where Mousesports buy 5 nades and Kerrigan gets blown away. God.
Yeah, that was something special. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
There's something very poetic about that round of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see if Robson also has anything to work with. Look at this. Quick little headshots coming out of Robson Woxic, and that's why you can never count them out. But hey, Woxic gets what he wants. It's a bomb plant over on the B site, a Galil, and 38 health in the final round of the half. If he was going to clutch, now better than ever. Lots of utility for Astillion on the retake. Double kit in this situation. Looks like the Opper is going to be playing first, and Astillion looks to trade. Now, Woxic does have the audio that they're coming on in. What's he going to do about it? Oh, he's going to at least tuck himself into a little bit of cover, but Mad Lions, they're sticking inside of the smoke. He goes for the spray, and oh, it falls flat. Awkward way to finish our first half, but listen, it's 5-10. It's par for the course. It's still too early to call, so we'll see you all after the break.
Day that we met, hope you know I'm glad that we waited. Can't forget those walks in the cold, long drives into nowhere. Tell me how it feels when I hold you tight like we don't care. I'll come whenever you call. I'll run right into your arms, or hold on whenever you fall. 'Cause you changed me, ooh, you changed me. I remember days that we spent. I remember time that we made. I'm thinking on the day that we met. Hope you know I'm glad that we waited. Can't forget those walks in the cold, long drives into nowhere. Tell me how it feels when I hold you tight like we don't care. I'll come whenever you call. I'll run right into your arms, or hold on whenever you fall. 'Cause you changed me, ooh, you changed me. I'll come whenever you call. I'll run right into your arms, or hold on whenever you fall. 'Cause you changed me, ooh, you changed me. I'll come whenever you call. I'll run right into your arms, or hold on whenever you fall.
We are back, folks, with what will be a very important half. Elimination looms near, and Mousesports a little dangerously close to that line, Launders. They're switching over to the CT side, and Mad Lions looking to close up shop real quick.
It was brought up by our producer that he feels like Mousesports, they can do this on the CT side. And then we started looking at some previous matches and saw that Mad Lions did struggle in to get NET rounds versus MIBR in a very recent grand final where they won a lot of money. But you know, my thought is that Acor has been playing so incredibly well that on this T side, just one or two miraculous rounds by him could net them the victory. But I think there is a point to be made that Mousesports CT side going to be much better than their T side.
I think there's definitely reason to believe it. I also think that Mad Lions know better than anybody else that comebacks can happen here on Train, so probably not going to over-aggress too much in these opening rounds. We saw some wild shenanigans happening once they had that early lead. But here in the pistol, it's back into the 4 versus 4. Kerrigan is watching Old Bomb cross, and Roy is deciding to run straight out Ivy with that P250, tapping Kerrigan down and getting the kills they need to plant this bomb. It's been flushed away from Mousesports. Mad Lions just cranking it into that A bomb site, taking names, taking heads, taking rounds, and a 6-point lead.
They didn't even need A-Core. He died first. Everybody else turned up. This is all beautiful movement and clearing of the angles. Great round by Roy. Of course, he predicts the peak there from Kerrigan, and the Molotov to flush him out. I mean, there was no places where Mousesports felt comfortable standing, even having to entertain the idea of wrapping Old Bomb, excuse me, on top of pushing out a T-Con. Bilal.
Frozen ready up close with the Deeg. Takes a bottle to the face. Basilian just hanging up above it. Yeah. That smoke, I don't think so. Decides to just sprint back up and hold off here. No rush. No rush for Mad Lions. This is one of those rounds where they know they have the favorite by. They know they're in control of the game. And they know they get to set the pace. So do not give them a chance. Deep Molotov to flush out where Frozen was, but he has already evacuated this position. Yes, that's right. He plays behind E-Box and even deciding to go further back now within the train yard. Seems like Mad Lions are going to execute off of this one, and we have Mousesports rotating players through Z already smoked off, and with just the pistols, it's hard to find that line of sight, and even harder so when Astillion is just pumping SMG shots into your head. That's 2 dead and 3 to go for Mousesports, but it looks like they're on the retreat already.
Shout out to Astillion too. I feel like he's made such development as a player, and I was surprised to see him get picked up by the team on their way up, in a sense, where I felt like Astillion was not really quite the lateral move to fill in the shoes of Hundin, but then to also, bring in extra firepower versus great teams. But he was fragging last map. He's definitely looked solid, and the team does look as cohesive as ever. So just wanted to give him a quick shout out on top of everything else. All the pieces definitely look very strong, and he seems like a wonderful complementary move for Mad Lions. 12 rounds here, 7 rounds of difference, 4 to go. We're in tripping distance of the finishing line.
Yeah, Mad Lions at this point. I think that this is that world where they could start to afford to make some mistakes, but in making those mistakes, they could also pull off audacious plays. So keep your eyes on it. Don't look away from the screen for a moment. Don't even blink.
Don't want to miss a frame. Chris J, more like Push J. He's up here scouring out the box halls. Eagle J. The Silver
Smokes
Sniper.
J.
Whatever you want him to be, Jay.
Down the ladder. I like that he doesn't stick around there. He was doing a good job. He's another one of those moments where he gets that armor. On Inferno, I still could not figure that out. Remember when it came back to cost him?
I mean, it was weird because he saved the previous round where everybody else didn't, so that he'd have enough money for the op. So that was the weird part.
Not one of those situations, but the moment I saw that Kevlar, I had to calculate the money. We did it twice in one series. I'd have to poke fun. But listen, speaking of fun, it's going to be a rip through this A bomb site, you'd think. There is still that scout back, but it's, oh my god, of all things, killed by the MP5 SD. Let that sink in. SMG versus Scout. And he gets the win at one of the longest angles on this map. Wild scenes, but I think fair scenes and what we've come to expect. Remember, A-Core, I mean, he's just playing this round with a Deagle. Doesn't even buy a gun. Disrespect all over the place. And Astillion just slipping in to this back line versus the CTs. Frozen's going to try to punish him, but he too toppled. 13-5 for Mad Lions. You find me one reason to believe that Mousesports are going to make this comeback happen.
13-5, and not a single death on this round. No reason to even upgrade. They're just going to probably I don't even know if they will, honestly. They probably just try something fast and apply pressure where if Mousesports want to buy an op, they're going to be missing grenades. If they want to full up rifle buy, there might be a couple of people missing grenades. Just got a glimpse of the economy. And yeah, it's worth it. You can still win with the SMGs. And in fact, because you've got that reckless abandon factor on the SMGs, they can just like jump through smokes and move quickly. Take something. Still decent grenades. Still decent grenades here for the CTs, though. They're looking all right. I like Mad Lion's ladder drop, where they have one on the ladder, one standing on one's head, but not on the ladder, and then the one on the ladder presses jump, moves to the left side as they drop, and they both drop in different spots. I think that's kind of the most optimal way to drop ladder right now, on top of the different Molotov combos that you can throw, just so that you can avoid getting traded, because aiming at the head of the person at the bottom of the totem pole can sometimes mean both players will die the exact same fashion. But if they're beside each other, they can't be traded in the same fashion. So I like that Mad Lions are employing that strategy and giving Mousesports a hard time in the ladder, just like Mousesports gave them in the ladder in the first half.
Flashbangs and smokes signaling the inevitable push. Kerrigan blind, but still good for a kill and the follow-up headshot. It's going to cost bodies for Mad Lions to get some pressure on this A site, but they actually don't even follow through. Nope. They've got something better. Bubsky over towards this B site, finding Rops on his retreat towards Z. He just wanted to keep an eye on the ramp, but they had already slipped a player past, and Chris almost catches him. So now this is the playmaker position. He jumps up and drops bomb. That is a huge kill, but he can't manage the follow-up frag, so Woxic's going to have to do it all on his own.
God, that's so rough. Chris got the info and didn't want to shoot at the first guy, but then he gets spotted. He hits the incredible shot, but wishes he could have lurked on Bubsky before doing anything else.
The peek up into upper, walks it, good for the one, but there's no way he suspects a second player touch. Bubsky does him dirty, and Mad Lions, they've gotten that 14th round. A 9-round advantage, economic momentum, and an opponent who can barely afford to buy.
You've got to love how Bubsky was the man to lurk into the B site to open things up and then ends up getting a lurk frag in a 1v1 situation. Woxic jumps into his arms, but he doesn't catch him.
With Bubsky, it's almost like he exists within duality, because sometimes he looks like a hard entry, other times he looks like a total lurk. You know, he is able to shift into this aggressive mode like not many others. And I really like that. It's refreshing. You know, we saw the death of the lurker role. You know, the days of Happy are long gone, but he is the new generation of lurker in a way.
Yeah, he's a neutrino, passing through everything,
slowing down for no one.
Slowing down for no one. Oh yeah, I like that. Nothing can slow him down. The massless entity.
Rosen. Oh, yes. Deagle connects. He's going to go ahead and reload it as Rops connects the headshot as well with his scout, but he is burned off of Z. So they're going to double back, and everybody from Mousesports trying to get into the old bomb, all while Woxic hard flanks. It's just the P250 for this flank, but he upgrades into the AWP, catching Bubsky by surprise. Can't get that second one as he drops to 2 points of health. So Roy and Shush separate from one another, but with huge HP advantage over top of what's left of Mousesports, and that frag grenade's going to help because, as I said, Mousesports have everybody else coming in from the opposite side. So now eyes forward for Mad Lions, or eyes sideways. Seems like Roy can't quite manage the player on the bomb site, and Shush is down after his second frag. That's a 6 for Mousesports. There is still a chance.
Nice play there by Chris, walking out into the bomb train, just in his mind, visualizing where he thinks he knows someone will be, and then locking him down, turning that into a 2K. That's great. An amazing nade there from Roy to kill Woxic inside of T-Con, just trying to play his position, hold down a piece of map control-wise while his teammates walk in for the rotate. And yeah, this is in the post plant. You know, that perfectly placed grenade. But even
the Deagle and Scout shot in the end, man, if you think about it, they come back to matter so much. Cutting off the numbers there for Mad Lions, they barely got it over the line, but whoa. Hyper aggression coming out of Mad Lions, already exiting T-Con and already starting to fall. That's 2 members down as Rops very quickly wastes no time to run back down the ladder room, executing 2, hits them from the sidelines, and Roy's got everything to do. AK up, threat nearby, Woxic holds the line. A 7th for Mousesports.
You know, I still really like the AUG outside on train. AUG is definitely not bad at all, and long lines of sight. It's a map already very friendly to ops, and that'll just tell you the AUGs can benefit as well. And I think Kerrigan, it makes his spots a bit more consistent to have that. You know, if you're super sick, you can still take those long range duels with an M4 and, you know, very competently be able to hold round after round. But I don't mind the AUG whatsoever.
I think it's easy to forget that it wasn't nerfed nearly as hard as the Krieg. It just happened to unfold on the very same day. Rops, hello. And Mad Lions, goodbye. 4-piece for Rops here in the anti-eco. He is now at 21 frags, 13 deaths. Refuse to go down without a fight.
Yeah, Rops, great on this last map, great in their last series. Only one with a very decent rating. Basically, one of the only good things about Mousesports these days, sadly. These days, I mean that very ephemerally. Like just in the past recent matches, like this Masters run, they've just been not very good. But $200 decoy. Every member of Mousesports has more enemies flashed than 4 members of Mad Lions. Oh, huh.
Too shabby.
That's pretty good. That's a damning stat for the team specifically. I was actually wondering about that.
2 players for Mad Lions with notable flashbangs at the moment. Ascillion has 27, Acor 14, and then the other 3 goes 7, 4, and 2.
Always good to see the IGL have the most flashbangs. Always good to see.
All in a great example of that. Woxic, a great example of that. A quick off shot up into the box halls. And remember that this is the buy round Mad Lions were working towards. So for them to be knocked down a peg so quickly, you know it's going to sting. But be careful, Rops. Ooh, or throw caution to the wind. The man rounds the corner. He knows exactly what's going on. Calls out Roy boost. And we very swiftly find ourselves in a 5v2 turn 1 even. Woxic. All right, my man. Locking down that B bomb site. I'm very curious to see if this double op really starts rolling for Mousesports. I think it could be the key to the success that they need if they're going to make this unthinkable comeback happen.
If I'm Mad Lions, I'm thinking about how do I get to the B site? How do I crack open the B site without them knowing? And how do I get the bomb down in even numbers? That would be my primary goal right now, because I think that, you know, that flashbang stat, when they were taking outside, I was wondering, like, how flash was Kerrigan? How many nades were coming out? Whoa. How many nades were coming out when they were going outside? And how much progress could have been made if they had better flashbangs? Because they seem to all die in the first 10% of the site, like up by E-Box and before that. And I think if they don't figure that out, it's obviously going to continue to be a problem. Oh, that Kerrigan's like, I don't really care if you come back to try to peek Ivy. In fact, I don't think you will.
No, executes him. Woxic. Dude, I love that he peeks in and his crosshairs between 2 people, right? Which can sometimes, I know firsthand, fluster someone with the sniper.
Right in the middle of them.
Yeah, you know, you just left click, like bullet magnetism might help you out. But in this case, Woxic, quick, slick fingers, slides it to the side and gets his opening kill. Now, Rops is going to flash him for the upper peak, and he does get bullied back here, peppered by the pistol arrows of Mad Lions, who are also equipped with quite the belts of utility here. Smoke grenade bounces up the ramp. Still pretty easy to actually move past this if they use utility of their own. It's not the type of smoke that screws you up at the base of the ramp, so they're going to try and force the issue. But Rops, nice angle from on top of the train yard. He has to fall back through the molly, so he dies. Gunned down by Roy, who wastes no time moving forward. That bomb's actually on the front side of the site. A little unorthodox in this post plant. Decides to move back before going down. No. He just straight up side plants. That's going to be exposed now to both directions. And with Bubsky inside of Z, he needs a gun. But Kerrigan manages the AUG versus the reload. As Woxic picks up another one with the sniper, Asilian finds his paws on an M4. That's one rifle for Mad Lions to try and play off of, one player for them to try to play off of, and it's way too much to manage. A 10th for Mousesports, now within 4.
Yeah, really good patience on everything there. Chris holding that smoke for as long as he did. Everybody trusting their positions in the retake. You got to love that from Mousesports for sure. And, you know, wow, that was a nice shot too. Bubsky was out there trying to make a play. Kerrigan, I think, forewent the ladder flank. He was up there, came super late to the back of Z. Bubsky was like, what the hell are you doing here this late? Meanwhile, he's outside, of course. But, yeah, that was a nice hold. It was a good execute, honestly. Mad Lions really stuck to the spacing, sacrificed their first player to get out, but pushed Robs back, allowed the bomb to go down.
That's the big one. That's the huge kill. Naded. They had tagged him up the bottom of ladder, and that frag grenade just bounced down right on the mark. This was a very hectic start to the round. Wouldn't be surprised if you guys missed some things, but that was a big T-Con fight, and then also inside of Pop Dog all at the same time.
I think both Mad Lions know they want B in this situation. I think Mousesports know they want B as well. I feel like Ross is preparing to flank since they're down one guy, and they already have the early rotate out.
Ooh, Chris can't manage. Gets just the one kill. Really good timing there on Mad Lions' peak. Doing a double dip in both directions, then catching flank is Bubsky. This is the round. This is the round that secures Mad Lions overtime at the least. It started off with Kerrigan getting close to T-Con. He gets one kill with the AUG, barrel stuffs the hard entry attempt for Mad Lions, dies to Acor, who was tucked in behind boxes. And then as we saw, Frozen didn't even get a chance to stay standing as he was just blown to smithereens. Woxic finds no opening back into this. He has to save what has been a crucial piece for Mousesports' attempt at a comeback. That AWP has played a role, most certainly. 5 map and match points, Mohan, and elimination on the line.
Chris J hits a nice shot, but I feel like because he dies, that's the reason Robs dies, because the player upper who's left over goes back to watch the flank. And I feel like it really did feel like Mousesports knew that Mad Lions wanted to go B, but he was playing up on top of the train where he could have held down one choke point and then played more to stay alive and maybe get one. And Robs could have been more instrumental in that round, but was kind of risky about it. But at the same time, credit to Mad Lions for not throwing a single grenade and just attacking from both choke points on contact. But yeah, this could be the very last round of the series. Elimination here for Mousesports.
Wild scenes. Who would have thought? Complexity, big, Mad Lions and Mousesports, and these are the two teams with the 0-2 record. Just looking for that one series win to keep them alive here at DreamHack Masters Spring 2020. Flash goes past, Woxic gives up the angle. Chooses not to re-peek into this. It's a dangerous game with Acor on the other side.
Aggro T-Con control here for the CTs. It's a smart move. If Mad Lions, we can see they're pressed against both Ivy and Ladder with 3, their core all on T-Con. They can't take outside without T-Con control or respecting the fact that there's a smoke here.
A little bit of utility usage coming out of Roy. Trying to beat his chest and seem more intimidating than he is. He's got the attention of a couple of Mousesports players, but he is just one. And he has actually gotten past the smoke. Oh, but he's got to clear the corner on Ivy. He could find huge timing. Roy decides to just kill Kerrigan, starts killing teammates in the middle of it all, but that's all right. Shush, still standing. The thing is they haven't gotten Frozen out from behind the Ivy train, and they've already decided to put that bomb down. A hectic 4 versus 5 retake attempt to unfold, and because of the smoke, Woxic has to shoot blindly through it to get anything going here for Mouse. Chris, up close, needs to check left, but Roy slips by. And Roy could now deny everything because he finds two players with their backs turned. He doesn't actually know Chris has moved forward, but no problem. Asilian kills them all, and Mad Lions send them packing. Mousesports eliminated from Group B, and we have the Danes surviving to fight another day. What a dismantling, what a performance from both Acor and Bubsky throughout this series.
That's one of the most one-sided series that I've seen in a long time, and for especially considering the team that lost is, you know, more highly rated. And Mad Lions, man, they played one hell of a match. Mousesports looked despondent on Inferno, and on Train, they only slightly picked it up towards the end. But in general, it was Mad Lions never really lost control of it. Shout out to every single player on that team. They all had great rounds.
They had some really close games too coming up to this one. So I feel like, you know, favoring them versus Mousesports was sort of a situation that was created because of watching Mousesports limp. And now they're going to have time to just walk away and lick their wounds. Kerrigan's going to have to do some deep thinking and figure out what the heck's going on with this team, because this is a fall from grace that I don't think many people expected. And we've seen it happen in North America too with some of the favorites. But to this degree, I don't know. It's tough stuff from them. We'll let the experts unpack it all once we're back from the break. Ladies and gents, there's still more Counter-Strike action to come, so don't you dare go too far.
That is it for Mousesports as Mad Lions dispatch of them on Train. It may have been Mousesports' map pick, but Acor, who you can see on your screen right now, well, we spoke about him needing to be a heavy hitter in here for Mousesports, and he certainly delivered when it comes to the Train game. For Mousesports, though, they'll be looking at themselves and feeling pretty damn sad about how it all went down, because this was not the result they wanted to have as they struggled once again here online, guys.
Yeah, that was, again, Mousesports not looking super good. We got to give props to Mad Lions, though. I think they played one hell of a game. We talked about it coming into the game, Christine. We haven't seen much from Acor so far in this tournament, but he was playing hearts out, especially with the AWP. You mentioned his movement, you mentioned the way he moves around on the map, and you could see that on Train. He was super influential, and he was super good. Then we got to give hats off to Bubsky as well. Both maps top working, both maps leading in ADR, having a fantastic series against Mousesports.
Definitely so. And I mean, Bubsky, man, the casters Mohan and Scrawny, they touched on it, but it seemed like at any point Bubsky throughout the series, he could turn a switch off on his head, whether he wanted to be an entry, whether he wanted to be lurking, whether he wanted to benefit his team by trading properly. It seems like he's got the game plan drilled into his brain, and he's absolutely enabling these Lions to find so many looks and opportunities.
Yeah, he really was, right? And it comes down to one of these things where we say Mad Lions, they didn't look good all the way through, but this time they got it when it meant the most, and I can hear that phone ringing. I believe that means we've got a Mousesports member on the line, and it should be Mr. Rops joining us, who gave us his absolute all across the series. Now, Rops, obviously another tough loss for you guys to take. I'm just wondering what's going on for you guys mentally when it comes to this, because you guys looked amazing towards the end of last year, beginning of this year.
Yeah, hello. It's definitely difficult to figure out the issue here. I think we're gonna have a bit of time off to think, since obviously we came into this tournament actually practicing really hard the week prior, fixing our stuff in Inferno, but we just can't find ourselves, and I think we're just gonna take some time off and see how it goes.
How was the practice leading up to this tournament? Was it a good experience? Do you guys feel that you improved, or was it more of the same, you guys couldn't be able to find yourself?
Surprisingly, the practice was actually very great. We did come up with a lot of new stuff. I'm not so sure if we used it too much in the official games. That could be something we can point out too. But yeah, in practice we almost wiped out our old strat book and came up with a lot of new stuff. So I think practice went really well, but we're just gonna bring it to the official matches.
Okay, and I know this may be a little bit tough for you to hear, right? But you personally, right now, in this difficult period, you're playing well. I think you've been the only player who's been stepping up game after game. Do you feel that you're in a good period, and do you feel that can be potentially enough to get you guys out of it? Or what's the feeling for you personally to be playing so well, but never really winning any matches?
I mean, it's confusing for myself also, with how the way we're playing and how the way we're playing as a team. I would say, I mean, it's been pretty rough actually since the start of the year. I didn't feel so well. I didn't think I'm on top of my game, and I think the whole year so far has been very confusing with the whole situation online and our performance tips, and it's tough to figure it out. I think I'm not at the top of my level right now, but I think we can do better for sure.
It did seem like across this series, specifically on Inferno and even on Train, maybe you guys, did you expect a certain level of respect from Lions to not push past the imaginary line of scrimmage? Because Lions were consistently looking for duels, whether it was a ladder flank, whether it was T-con pressure. Did you guys expect Lions to be so ready to duel all across the map?
I would say we weren't so ready. They definitely caught us by surprise, like most of the rounds, because they hit a lot of good timings, I have to be honest. I mean, every time we went to take a map control, they pushed the other side that real second, and it was really tough to play against them since they just caught us off guard like every time, and I'll play to them.
Now, another thing here, Robs, is right, when we're looking at what Mousesports can do, normally when I see you guys at events, we see this kind of the laughter, the system of you guys all having a bit of fun outside of the game as well. Are you guys kind of missing being together and having to play from online? Do you think that's a part of all of this?
That's something Carrigan actually pointed out. I can't say it affects me so much, but I'm sure it affects a lot of us on the team if you take it all together as five. Since obviously online you can see each other's faces, you can see the emotion from your teammates, and from online you can't really tell what the other guy is trying to tell sometimes because you don't see what emotion he's putting into it, and yeah, it's confusing, and it's definitely harder on us, I think, in this scenario, and I guess that's how it is for now.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where you just have to deal with it. Well, Robs, thank you very much for your time, and good luck going forward in practice and getting yourselves into better shape once again.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, mate. Oh, Rob's given us a solid set of answers there, but it's interesting, right, when you're looking at that kind of that environment of how things change, because that's one thing I always see, and you guys have probably seen it at the events, is Mousesports are always joking. Regin's there, like keeping them up, boosted and stuff. Him and Watts are having a laugh and all this kind of thing, and you see they've got this system in place. I know Carrigan and Frozen room together, for example, and that's one of the things they spoke about helping them. So maybe online is really affecting them a little bit more than other teams.
Yeah, I love how calm and collective he was in this interview, right? He was responding to the question. He was like acknowledging the fact that they're not having a good time, and still, you know, it made me somehow believe that there's still a future for Mousesports, right? They know it's a bad period, but we've seen them, as Christine said in the pregame as well, we have seen Mousesports in a rough period before, and we know they can play their way out of it. And I think Robs, as a player and as a person, you know, gives a lot of belief in the whole project. He's very calm, very collected, and he's been playing hearts out as of lately, so he can be super proud of his performance and the way he's handling a very rough period right now.
Well, the next phone call is happening already, and this time probably a more uplifted side of things. We've got Mad Lions Roach with us here. First of all, it must feel pretty damn good to not just win, but win back in a very convincing fashion 2-0, mate.
Yeah, it feels really good. It was well needed after the last 2 days, so I think we are really happy right now. So.
Do you think some of this came from just having an extended break from obviously playing in Flashpoint and then not having official games? Do you think it just took a bit of time for you guys to get warmed up?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of us felt like you like kind of not forget the feeling, but you kind of like you're not in it. You haven't. I think it's been a while exactly for us before we have been playing. I think official for 3 or 4 weeks. I can't even remember when it was the last time. So I mean, it was definitely. I think the first game 2 days ago was really nice coming back, but we kind of needed to get back to the groove again. I could definitely feel that.
Roy, for the past 2 days, we've been talking about how great the Mad Lions T side have looked, but how flat the CT side have looked. Did you guys discuss as a team how to approach it today? Because today it just seemed like you guys were not shying away from any duels. It seemed like you were pop flashing into team mid, just looking for any duel that you could. What changed?
We kind of had a talk after our loss yesterday about what we could change, considering we had a match today. So we kind of had the focus on, especially what you just said with the flash plays and like taking chances and actually playing to win. So we had a talk about that, and we tried to have that as a focus point today. Other than that, we tried to look a bit on how we prep and how we prepare and how the day is gonna look, because we've actually had a kind of different schedule when we were practicing these 3 weeks. So we kind of changed up a few things with the prep, and then we kind of just had a long talk about what we had to focus on this match, and I definitely felt that today felt way more nice, and we actually did very good in all the things that we talked about. So I'm very happy with the win today.
Roy, a few days ago I asked Bobski what the biggest difference between playing with Hunton and Asilian is. He said that one shoots people, the other one doesn't. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on that one? And is there something, different playing with Asilian compared to Hunton?
I mean, Bobski is right on that one, but I mean, I definitely feel like Asilian is a really good leader, and that is something I feel is very, very important to a team, especially on our team, because we have personalities that doesn't really come out as a strong leader, and I definitely think that Asilian is a born leader, and he comes with all those great things outside of the game and prepping for games and practice and all those small things. So I definitely feel a big difference there, and I really enjoy playing with him. Like, he's very straightforward. He is not shy of taking conflicts and fixing stuff and saying how he feels. And I feel that is one of a very strong thing to have when you're playing in a team with young guys like this, because I mean, you have to try and take conflicts and talk about problems and like all those things. So I really feel that it helps having a guy like that on the team chemistry and just in general fixing problems and talking about things, and it just makes it so much better to play on the team, and you kind of become more like friends and stuff. So in general, that is the biggest change for me, at least I feel like.
Sounds like the Asilian I know as well. Lastly, you guys did very well at Flashpoint. Let's agree to that one. Winning that tournament must have felt super, super nice for you. What is the next set of goals Mad Lions has? Is that establishing yourself as a top 10 team, top 5? What are we looking at for 2020? Are you guys good enough to be a top 5 team?
I mean, I think coming out of Flashpoint, we played really good and we were really happy, but I don't think we all had the feeling that we kind of came out of it beating a lot of top tier teams. So right now, I think we just really want to prove that we can beat these top tier teams, and we can actually break into the top 10 and consistently beat these teams and compete with them. Because to be honest, in Flashpoint there wasn't a lot of like tier 1 teams, so I'm really happy playing this right now because now we have the chance, and I'm so happy that we got through from this group, because now we even get more chances to play against the best team in the world, and I definitely feel that is something we all need and all want to be able to compete and beat those guys.
Brilliant stuff there, Roy. Thank you very much for your time, man, and congratulations on making it through to the playoffs in a convincing fashion in this game.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I love the fact that he's very well aware, right, that Flashpoint didn't have some of the best teams for them to play against, and that they've still got a lot of work to do. Yes, it's a confidence boost. Yes, it's a great win, but it's still only a stepping stone to where they want to be there. All right, next up. There we go. I'm looking. I'm seeing where we're going next. Potter, you've got it for us again this time around. We're looking at your Weather Woman segment. What are we going to be looking at this time around?
We're looking at the very last round of this half, and I just had to highlight, because throughout this entire match, we saw Mad Lions just rushing through, being aggressive, being proactive, but this was a very nice set piece, a nice slow executed, just an outside hit coming out of Lions. So if I push play here, for context, we're 45 seconds into the round. Mad Lions, they've just done a default towards Ivy, and right now Roy is kind of bluffing. He's kind of letting them know, hey, I'm the only member here. There's a very minimal amount of utility coming here. If I pause, the 3 members of Lions coming through and retaking this T-Con is what I really appreciated. A double flash coming out of Asilian and A-Core to allow Shush to properly and safely take over T-Con. And all this noise that's being made, Kerrigan hears it. Now he's taken off his attention of Roy. Roy finds the timing with this lurk smoke, slips past Woxic, and just the fights that he's finding and the openings. It was just such a well-timed execute coming out of Lions. And if we could go over to Mad Lions' point of view for Roy, you can actually see him slipping past Woxic because of his lurk smoke that he puts out towards that Ivy. And just look at all these kills. He finds Kerrigan not even looking his way. And then the second and even third kill that he finds, these enemies aren't looking towards him. So this just goes to show that this was perfectly executed. And Roy, he's not going to find these types of kills all the time, but when he does, it's got to feel good.
It helps them seal the deal at the end as well, right? That's the way to get it done. And I think when you're looking at what we saw from Mad Lions, it certainly looked better as they got more into the groove of things. But playoffs is going to be really tough for them. They will not be able to make any mistakes in that, right? They will have to come in completely prepared and ready for it compared to what we saw at the beginning.
Definitely, and I think they showed us today they had the level in order to be competitive in a playoff. I think they played super well today. Let's not take anything away from Mad Lions, but Mousesports, they're simply not looking good at the moment, right? It seems like a team that everyone at the moment can beat. Maybe even Team Liquid has a chance if they were to play Mousesports. So it's a team that is in a position right now where it's not looking solid. It's just not looking good. Look at this run right here. The group standings, coming into the tournament just a week ago, I think we all could agree that the big favorites of this group would have been Mousesports. They find themselves 0-3, haven't won a single game. It's simply not good enough.
I would have really put like Mousesports first, Complexity second, and either Big or Mad Lions been eliminated. That's kind of where I saw it at the beginning of the week, and well, this is what we end up with. But at least we end up with a clear-cut group, right? No confusing tiebreakers or anything to come right down to at the end.
No confusing tiebreakers. And I gotta say, man, Mousesports, I wish they would have adjusted a lot sooner. I think with just watching this series, I could tell that I think they were maybe expecting a level of respect coming out of Lions. I know that if this was on LAN with money on the line, the crowd cheering, the risk factor, it starts to mean a little bit more. The pushes that the Lions players were doing, maybe they don't push the ladder. Maybe Bubsky isn't always lurking around in the back line. So I think this is just a different online style that Mousesports, they just weren't ready for.
No, they really weren't. But let's have a look at now how the playoff bracket is looking as where we are for the moment. And this is what we'll be seeing early on here. So we can see in the upper bracket semis, we've got G2 and Big early on. And Big, a name that many may not have put there, but they have been putting in that work. They've been looking so much better. Then we've got Complexity, Mad Lions, Heroic, and Astralis all the way through. But surprisingly, right, Pimp, Astralis down in the lower bracket to start things off with.
Yeah, and there's a long way from the lower bracket if you want to win this tournament, so that's going to be a rough one for this new Astralis iteration. Obviously, playing with Yuki didn't help them in the group stage, but the fact they lost to G2, a team that was just a single round away from actually being out of the tournament, is interesting and definitely not something we could have forecasted. So it's shaping up to be a good tournament, and I like to see the teams we got through, right? We've seen all these teams play now, and I think all the teams on your screen right now had delivered some somewhat decent Counter-Strike in certain periods, especially Big. I think those are the biggest, how to say it? That is the biggest surprise we've seen so far in the tournament. They look really solid so far.
I'm really interested when you're talking about Big, right, to see if they can continue this form, though, because we've seen them do this before. We've seen them start to get some good runs, but many times we question what they're able to do on certain maps, for example. So they've got a bit more time to prepare for the playoffs, but do you think they've got a good chance of really doing the same kind of style of performance getting up into these playoffs?
Hey, I've underestimated Big many a times in 2020. Just thinking back at DreamHack Leipzig, I mean, just like in this tournament, we rated them a little bit low and fair play because their performance individually, it hadn't been living up to par. But Searson and Keto, man, these two additions to Big, they're looking like a brand new team. They're looking like a very well-prepared team. And if it was just Xantares getting one taps here and there, and that's why they were winning, then I would say, yeah, it's still questionable, but they've got good ideas. They're looking like they're heavily prepared. So I gotta say, I'm having a lot of faith in this Big project.
Yeah, no, I can start to agree with you, and especially when I thought like Keto might not be able to hang at this level. Well, so far so good for this young man. So I'm looking forward to see what they can do in the playoffs. But what I'm also looking forward to is our next best of 3 matchup. We're gonna have more of an extended break, but we're gonna have Furia going up against Chaos. Can Furia clean sweep the group, or can Chaos change things around and make it a huge opportunity for them to move on forward? We'll be finding out in a little bit of time.